10:20 on a Wednesday morning. Rainy outside. Hopefully not as bad as it was. It was pouring yesterday for a long period of time. And it's supposed to do that again coming up in the next couple of days. Want to mention baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan is presented by T-Mobile at T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. T-Mobile.com. Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan, which we're getting to right now and talking a lot about Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets off to a great start, obviously, to spring training. He's trying to play his way onto the roster. AJ Cassaville put out kind of a roster build of what it would look like, and I think we're going to try to get him on Friday. Something that we kind of did on Monday. And you start looking at the decisions, and here's the thing, and I've seen this a lot on social media. You know, you get a player to play really well in spring training, and everybody's like, he's got to be on the team. He's got to be on the team. It's fair. But every time that you say somebody has to be on the team, you got to take somebody off the team. And there's a lot of love for Connor Joe because he's a local product. There's a lot of love for Tirso Ornelas needs to make this team. He's doing so well this year, and he's from Tijuana. He's close. He's a local guy. Gavin Sheets he hit another home run. He's got to be on the team. There's only so many spots. You got 13 spots on the roster. And you kind of have to play the numbers game. As much of it is a cliche in professional sports, you got to start looking at it, and this is where you make these tough decisions. We already know Elias Diaz is on the team. He's going to be the starting catcher on opening day. Now you're down to 12 spots. You go to the infielders. Well, you know the infield's pretty much set. Arise, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Machado. That's 4 more positions. Now you're down to 8 spots. You go to the outfield. Merrill and Tatis definitely on the team, as well as the money they spent on Jason Hayward. So now you're down to 5 spots. Based on the way Mike Shildt has talked about Jose Iglesias, sounds like he's part of their plans. So now you're down to 4 spots. Backup catcher needs to be one of those. Now you're down to 3. Tyler Wade, they just gave a contract to, and they talk about how much of a good clubhouse guy and everything like that, and he's versatile as well. Now you're down to 2 spots. And so you got 2 spots left for Connor Joe, Eggy Rosario, Yuli Gurriel, Gavin Sheets, Brandon Lockridge, Tirso Ornelas. 6 players, 2 spots. Eggy Rosario's out of options. You're just going to have to get rid of him from the organization if you don't want to have him make the opening day roster. Connor Joe does have options. You could potentially send him down. You brought him in to be a platoon in left field. Is he going to start in AAA? Yuli Gurriel's got that relationship with Manny. I can't imagine him making the team, but he's one of those veteran guys that usually sneaks on a team. We saw it with Rougned Odor. Gavin Sheets, Tirso Ornelas. Ornelas has options. Sheets has options. He's got 1. You could theoretically have Sheets start in AAA. So out of those 6 players, who are you picking? It's Connor Joe, it's Eggy Rosario, it's Yuli Gurriel, it's Gavin Sheets, it's Brandon Lockridge, and it's Tirso Ornelas. With Jose Iglesias and Tyler Wade, you got a little bit more infield backup already. So you really need a 4th outfielder. Is that going to be Connor Joe? Is that going to be Gavin Sheets? Is that going to be Tirso Ornelas? Do you use speed with Brandon Lockridge? You got to pick 2 of those 6 players. Joe, Rosario, Gurriel, Sheets, Lockridge, Ornelas. Which leads to another question. and it really has an impact on Gavin Sheets. Should Major League Baseball teams invest heavily in power hitters that have limited roles? If we talk about Gavin Sheets for a second and what he potentially could bring, one of the good things for him is he's very versatile. Like he could play in a lot of different spots defensively. He's a left-handed hitter. Great having a left-handed hitter, an extra left-handed hitter on the bench. Guy throws right and bats left. That's a good combination in Major League Baseball. He could play a lot of positions in the field, and he swings the bat from the left side, going against a lot of righties. It's good to mix up in a platoon kind of setting. So if you have him at first base, and he is the power, it's almost like a Moneyball situation when it comes to platooning. If he's got to split time at first base with Luis Ariz, and Ariz obviously is going to be in the lineup every day, he's going to flip and be the DH and everything like that. If Gavin Sheets can be that high power hitter, not necessarily for average, but a power hitter that can get you 15, 20 home runs, he can make up for the lack of home runs that Ariz puts over the fence. And where Sheets' average lacks, Ariz picks up. And so now, the reality is, if you split the season between the two, assuming that you give Gavin Sheets a lot of playing time, or a decent amount of playing time, now all of a sudden your first base position, I mean, you might get 5 home runs out of Ariz. You might get a little bit more than that. Not a home run hitter, but every once in a while, you hit enough line drives. If you get a hold of one, it's going over the fence. He had 4 home runs last year. If you can get around 3 to 4, 5 home runs out of Ariz, get close to 15, 16 out of Sheets, now all of a sudden you got 20 home runs at your one bagger. Kind of makes up for some of it. You part of trying to find the algorithm, right? Is that whole situation in Moneyball where you're trying to replace all these stats from guys that went away, like McGuire. You don't need one guy to do it. You can find 3 or 4 guys to do it. In this particular case, you might have a couple of platoons that might be able to do it. Is there enough appreciation for bench players who bring, the clutch factor or that left-handed power hitter off the bench? There's a lot of teams that are moving away from traditional roles and focusing more on versatility. I mean, we've seen that with LA for the last handful of years, and now the Padres have been able to do that. Having guys be able to play multiple positions, having guys be able to do more than just one thing. So does Gavin Sheets' versatility and his ability to hit the ball over the fence get him on the team? It depends how much you want to evaluate spring training results. There's one player that had a remarkable spring training back in 2011 that ended up making a team and then being DFA'd within a month and never played Major League Baseball again. We're going to talk about that player and the comparisons to Gavin Sheets when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local from 10 to 2, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.